This vision board that I'm about to take you through, I've been using for the last few years, and it's helped me achieve not only my wealth desires and relationship and health, but to get clear on what a successful life means to me, what it looks like, what it feels like. And this isn't just another Pinterest board or photo album. I used to love using those, and I still use them as a tool because they're exciting, they're fun, you can grab a whole lot of pictures and really dream. But I realized there was something missing from those Pinterest boards and those photo albums I really like words and intentions and feelings. Like, I'm very kinesthetic as much as I am visual, even auditory, linking music to those images. And I noticed that each year I'd often prioritize one area of my life and kind of forget about the others because there was no way to really organize or see the separate themes and areas of my life. And so I created this vision board that I want to walk you through. Of course, it's in Notion. It doesn't have to be. If you use the same process with a different tool, then that of course works. But essentially what I love about this vision board is, and this wasn't the initial intention, but I noticed throughout the year that I would constantly go back to it and add little reminders that reminded me of that vision, anything that felt like that fit there, or just to go back and have a look to see how much of that vision I had already experienced. And it was so much fun to be able to mark it off as like, yes, I've manifested this vision. You can't really do that with a Pinterest board, can you? You can't really tick it off. Like, I actually have experienced this that year. And so it made getting to the end of the year so beautiful in a way, because I got to see, like, even if I hadn't necessarily reached a certain target by the end of the year, I could see all the things that I had experienced throughout the year. I got to travel overseas, all the community events and the friendships that I built that you can't put targets on, right? But those are the things you can create visions around. And to remember that I had actually experienced those visions throughout the year made me so much more excited for the year ahead. Because it was like, if I can experience all this in 12 months, how much more can I experience the following year? We live our life one day at a time, and so what can happen is we predict our future based on how we feel in that moment, how that day's been, how that week's been. And so having tools like this, these vision boards, I've got other monthly reflection ones, having tools like this really is a place to capture and store all those beautiful memories that you might not think of when it comes December, come January. And so by having something like this that collects and stores these visions and everything related to them for you, it's a beautiful place to come back to and have a look at how much you got to experience and remind yourself how successful your life already is, how much you already get to do. And if you got to do all that, then you get to do so much more. At any point, you can grab the free template via the link in the description, or you can just follow along and create your own. And this technique is going to really work for anyone that loves structure and organization as much as they love energetics and subconscious. Because that's the thing, like, I love both. And so the kind of work I do is really going to suit someone like that. If you prefer just going with the flow, putting your imagination out there and trusting along the way, this may be too organized for you. This may be too structured for you. If you're someone that really wants numbers and clear framework and structure, this might actually still work for you, but you'll want to watch my other videos around how to then turn those into goals. If you're watching this video, then I'm sure you're aware of vision boards and the power of visualization and how the things you focus on you get. However, if this is maybe the first time you've heard about that, or you're wondering why you should even bother with vision boards, essentially your subconscious is picking up on millions of bits of information. So much information that if you were consciously aware of it, you would be overwhelmed. And so what your subconscious does is it filters, deletes, distorts, and generalizes a lot of that information. And your subconscious brings to your conscious awareness the things that your conscious mind, you have consciously decided that you want to be aware of, that you've asked to be highlighted. And the thing is, you were doing this all the time. So it's not just like, oh, you can start doing it because you haven't been doing it. Everyone is doing this all the time. And so why not be the leader of your life and start to direct that? Start to intentionally decide what you want filtered in, filtered out of your conscious awareness. And so the first step is still to go through a Pinterest board, to go through photos, just to collect images from anywhere you like. And the purpose of this first step is really just to start planting seeds, to plant ideas, to really get clear on what success looks like for you. Because say, for example, a dream home, for some people, a dream home is going to look like a mega mansion in a city. Other people, such as myself, it's a country home. It's surrounded by mountains and forests. For other people, it's what it looks like on the inside, how it feels on the inside. A relationship might be a romantic relationship. It might be friendships. I remember looking through Pinterest when I was looking for images that embodied the kind of relationships I wanted. And I loved the images that were around campfires, that were dinner parties. They weren't in restaurants or at clubs, which might be what you're into, but outside in these more homely, thoughtful environments. And so by going through Pinterest, Unsplash is another one, you can start collecting ideas, because this will really help for the next step, which is where you get to access your intuition, your subconscious, through what I like to use is hypnotic style visioning or visualizations to relax your conscious mind so that you can access that intuitive, creative, emotive sides of your brain, to really immerse your awareness in your visions. Because this is the other thing, if I didn't mention it, is it's so powerful to use your other senses. And yes, visualization has a lot to do with visions and visualization and visuals. But when you really bring the other senses in, so for example, for me, when I visualize, I actually don't see the images clearly. I almost more like feel the images, like really feel what it would feel like to be in that environment, to be in that situation. I remember I've gotten so many of my exact manifestations and visions this way. I remember with my dream car, I used to imagine myself from my point of view with my hands over the steering wheel, seeing the color of the bonnet, and how I would feel driving it. And it was like the very specific visualizations. I really anchored in what it would be like to actually drive the car, as opposed to just visualizing the car. I visualized what it would feel like to be driving the car, what it would feel like to be lying in the bed of my dream bedroom in my dream home, what it would be like to be holding and hugging my dream partner. This is why I love this visioning technique, to really see your vision through your eyes. And so you can either do this with the audios that you can find in the description, or what you can do is any image that really resonates with you that you find, to close your eyes and just focus on what it would feel like to be in that image, to be experiencing that, to open a door handle into your dream home, to open the door handle to your dream car, to hug and embrace the people that you want in your life, to look into your bank account and see the money you want, to really experience the moment where it feels like you're experiencing that vision, because that's how we experience life. Maybe it is opening up your door to your house and looking at all the things you have. Maybe it is looking at your calendar and looking at all the opportunities that are on their calendar. Really take the moment to see, yes, but to also feel, to hear, to ask yourself, what are you thinking? What are you smelling? What does it feel like on your skin, under your feet? What are in your hands? The more sensory you can make it, the more real it becomes. And the more real it becomes, the more it becomes a filter within your subconscious. And so when your subconscious picks up on anything that is relevant to that vision, it brings that to your conscious awareness. So many of the coolest manifestations that I've ever gotten that seemed like so miraculous and so by chance was because I listened to my intuition. But the thing is, my intuition listened to the filter, the vision that I had, I suppose, embedded or suggested through this process. And so by the time that those opportunities that came up that resonated with my vision, my subconscious, aka my intuition, helped guide me towards the decisions that led to me experiencing the things that I want most. And once you've taken a moment to visualize, it's now time to turn that energy, that thought, that feeling into something tangible. And so this is the part where we get to organize everything that you have started to visualize, that you've started to experience within your awareness, into themes. So if you get my free vision board template, which is available via the link in description, this is essentially what it will look like when you start. And so to start using this Notion template, you just duplicate and it will show up in your Notion. If you haven't created a Notion account, you can easily just create that and then start using this template. So essentially what you want to do is start dividing your visions into themes. Because if you've done the visualization process, then you may have just visualized a scene or maybe moments, and often, like anything in our life, is that even in a moment in our life, there's our health, there's our wealth, there's our work, there's our family going on. And so by kind of organizing that visualization into themes, you can kind of see what kind of energy and intentions and what success will look like in these different areas. So in this template, the examples you'll get is business and wealth, with a few examples of images. And I've added, some words and intentions here. You can, of course, divide the business separate to wealth, which is what I've done in my personal vision board. Health and lifestyle. Again, here's some ideas. And relationships, which could be community, it could be romantic relationships, it could be friendships. And again, you can either have it as one, or if it's maybe a focus area, like you want to develop both your romantic ships maybe and your friendships, then you can have that as separate. And then I guess like also in these this is the template that I use and a good place to start. But of course, like once you duplicate this, you can keep adding stuff here. So you can add quotes, inspiration, as many images as you like, maybe a song. You'll also get a template, so you can easily just duplicate that or just create a new vision. So once you have an idea about the different areas of your life you have a vision for, or the different themes, another one could be environment, maybe personal growth, whatever is real and relevant to you. You can also link these to your values. And so this also helps feel like you're actually not just achieving for achievement's sake, but creating a wholesome life that feels successful, not just through like accolades and validation, but it actually has all the things and all the experiences that, that you deem successful. And so once you've done that, it's essentially going into each of these and filling them out with intention. And I want to be really clear here. When you go in and add more into each of these, so for example, if you start with this, of course, you've got to add in the photos, maybe think about the words and emotions and intentions, to not do it like it's a chore. So not to come here and then be like, I gotta get this done. And then you spend all this time on, say, business and wealth, and it's like, oh, okay, do I have to do health and lifestyle now? And it's like, no, you don't. Just do it in the energy of excitement. Do it in the energy of like, I want to do this. This is exciting. This feels good. Because the more you do it in that energy, the more you are anchoring in that feeling of excitement towards your vision. Because even if you come in here and like create the vision in an energy of it's a chore, then you are accidentally anchoring in the energy of it's a chore and it's a burden to actually, I guess, achieve that vision. And why I like to also keep it a bit incomplete, like just do one at a time. Yeah, like come back and in a few months when you feel more inspired to build out the health and lifestyle vision, for example, is it also you remember to come back. You come back to it and you get reminded of the visions you've already, I guess, like seeded or planted. And then you're also coming back with fresh energy, fresh feelings towards it, as opposed to it being a burden that you have to get done by a certain time. Because at the end of the day, if you've done that visualization, you've already planted that seed. And so just organizing this isn't going to determine whether your vision is successful or not. This is just a really nice way as a reminder to come back to remember the reason why you're working towards the things that you're working towards, to get to the end of the year and realize you got to experience everything that you envisioned at the start of the year. And so to really maintain that feeling of excitement and to not push yourself beyond that into a feeling of chore, just like, you know, leave it. You don't need to complete it all at once. And keeping that loop open also means you are keeping your subconscious open to anything that is relevant to that vision as well, because anything to do with your visions, you really want to maintain that feeling of lightness and growth. So if you want a copy of this vision board, it's free. You can download it. If you want to do the visioning exercise as well as using this vision board, then it is something I'll go through during my workshop if you want to come to that live. And then you can also ask me any questions. We can work out yeah, we could just brainstorm any of your ideas as well. Remember, this vision board is just the first step. The next step is turning that dreaming into doing, into goals, into projects, into actions. To learn how to do that, either watch this next video, or if you want to go through the process live with me, where you get to actually ask questions, we get to brainstorm these goals, these visions together, then enroll in the workshop that I've got coming up, also via the link in description. Happy dreaming.